Welcome back to the Training Room, brought to you by Lionel University. This is the podcast for us, the fitness professionals. Joining me, as always, is my incredible co-host, Dr. Erin Nitschke. How's it going, Dr. Erin?
Happy Friday, buddy. It's going good. How are you?
I'm good. Maybe we'll just make Friday podcast day because it is nice to start off. I'm here on the West Coast, so it's nice to start off the day with a conversation among
Yes,
friends.
agreed.
Yeah, and speaking of that, it's the conversation among friends. We've got us, but today we actually have a guest on. So it's not just us playing our games about what we think about the fitness industry. And we like to refer to our episodes as training sessions, right? Because this is the training room, and every good training session deserves a bit of a warm up. So today we're going to warm up by first meeting our guest and then hearing a little bit about the history of our guest and why we're excited to speak to our guest. So I'm just going to shut up and just get to it because I know he's got a lot to say. Our guest today is Chancellor of Lionel University, Martin Rooney. Welcome, Martin.
Hey, great to be here. And for everybody listening, be ready. We're going to have a lot of information, but this is like old friends because you don't see behind the scenes where the three of us are meeting all the time. And we decided it was time to finally get some of this for a podcast for you, the listener. So ready yourself.
Right on. Thank you for that, Martin. And let's just start off. Let's warm up our guests a little bit with who you are, a little bit of your journey in the industry, and what's important to you right now in the industry. I know I've heard it a lot from you, and Erin and I just heard it a lot right before we hit the record button. So I was hoping we can carry some of that over to right now.
Awesome. Hey, first thing I'll say for everybody listening, guys, I'm getting old. Right. I'm getting old. So 30 years in the fitness industry, I like to say that there almost is not an area within the industry that I have not worked. I, at 17 years old, got my first personal training job, which led to a lot of experience and showed me how unprepared I was for the field. I went on to get my undergraduate exercise science degree at Furman University. I worked in the labs. I graduated with a fellowship there too. And it just showed me that exercise science was my passion. And I think you're going to hear that today. And if it's your passion too, I'm going to challenge you to make sure you live a great life by living your passion. When I finished my undergraduate, I went on to the Medical University of South Carolina. I got my degree in physical therapy, but also my master's degree in health sciences. And interesting enough, when I became a physical therapist, I liked it, but I didn't love it because I felt like it didn't have enough of the exercise science, the thing that was really my true passion. And that led me, afterwards, I got this great opportunity to help start or build the Parisi Speed School with legendary icon Bill Parisi. It got me around some of the greatest minds in the field of exercise science. One of them in particular, who I got to see often, was Dr. Fred Hatfield, which will be interesting to lead to the story there. And over that span, I've worked with NFL teams, major corporations, UFC champs, Olympic medalists, all the way down to high school state champion teams and middle school everywhere. And currently I'm a high school track coach, but I'm also, the founder of a company called Training for Warriors, which has had hundreds of locations around the world and tens of thousands of people using our system. But I am also now, for the last couple of years, the Chancellor of Lionel. And that I take with, I really honor that title because the university, as you heard, one of the founders was Dr. Fred Hatfield, who was such an inspiration when I was young in my career. And now, coming full circle as I am getting older, I think it's most important now for a coach to give back. And these are my returning years. And the best way I think I could do it is to continue to add legitimacy to our field, which is what I want my final mark to be. I want people to either be the most certified and knowledgeable or have their degrees in the field so that the industry of exercise science or the field of it gets as much respect as others like medicine or law, because I think it deserves it. So that was, as fast as furious as I could go. There was a lot more in there in the story, but hopefully everybody sees a little of what we're dealing with now.
Yeah, absolutely, Martin. I love that story. And I'm curious. So you had mentioned that you realized that physical therapy really wasn't your passion. At what point in that journey, when you were working as a physical therapist, did you have that aha moment of, I need a little bit more here?
No, and this is, Erin, and it's the great point. And I think for everybody listening, ready? I'm going to say something really powerful first. And here it is. Don't get good at something you don't love.
Yeah.
I call that one of the biggest knowledge bombs ever, that I think so many people that I meet, they have a job they don't really like, but they're always getting better at it to
Right.
try to make money. So occasionally they get to do the thing they really are passionate about. And so here's the thing, for anybody that wants to pursue physical therapy or is a physical therapist, hey, I still liked it. I loved the people I worked with. And that foundation that physical therapy built for me in terms of rehab, anatomy, biomechanics is so foundational to what I do now. And I always did as a coach. Like here's what I would say is, I was still doing physical therapy. I was just doing it on healthy people. Like it was, what it was for me, Erin, was I had a 45-minute commute one way. I had, because I lived in New Jersey then, outside of New York City. I was the new guy on, so I had the worst hours. We talked about Friday, John, and I had Monday nights, Wednesday nights, and Friday nights, and that ate into me a little bit. But it was a time when in therapy, man, you were seeing a lot of patients per hour, but most of those patients weren't athletes or younger, which is what I really wanted to do. So for everybody listening, if that is your passion, go for it. Mine, I wanted performance, right? Or I wanted to make a greater impact. Hey, what I didn't share, everybody, I was a track and field Division I scholarship athlete in college. I was on the U.S. bobsled team too after that, and got to represent the United States, which was really exciting. And I lived in an Olympic training center. So I want you to see like that. It was almost like what I saw everybody doing there. That's what I really wanted to be part of. And when I ended up in that orthopedic clinic, it wasn't that anymore. But hey, I still did that for over 3 years. But that whole time I had this knot, right? There's more. And then I was going to courses on the weekend. And that's how I met Bill Parisi. We met on a plane flying to a speed and agility event in Texas. And by the end of that trip, he was so exciting about what he was doing. I was like, I quit my job. I moved into some dude's basement I didn't know so I could tackle this career of speed and conditioning that didn't even exist, because this was the 1990s, that it wasn't even an industry yet. By chasing that passion, that it was the best move I ever made. And again, the story isn't about me. It's about you, whoever's listening. What is it that you really want to go after? And here's a great finish. First one is, don't get good at what you don't love. Watch this one, Erin. The question I wish I would have asked myself earlier, because of those 3+ years I did where I wasn't really happy, is what's the worst thing that can happen? What's the worst thing that can happen? And I never asked myself that. I was always like, oh, I can't stop. This is a good job. Now I make money. My mom likes saying I'm a physical therapist. Everybody says that's a good job. And the worst that would have happened is I went for my passion and it didn't work out, and I go back to being a therapist, right? But I didn't have that courage, or I didn't have that knowledge, right? And that's telling everybody is, guys, if there's something you're pursuing and that's the thing you find yourself learning about, or that's what your feed looks like, or you're listening to this right now, but you work in some other industry, but you really like this, I'm challenging you to go for it, because you'll never work a day in your life when it's something you love. But man, you'll work every day of your life when it's something you don't.
Yeah.
Man, Martin, you got me all fired up over here, and I'm ready. Hey, I'm ready to go off the rails now. Hey, I'm ready to go off the rails now and stop following my own outline that I made for this thing, because you're talking about coaching MMA champions, professional athletes, track and field. I too was a Division I track and field athlete. No Olympics for me though, Martin. So I didn't get to do all that. But the interesting part to me is that you got to do so much coaching of all these athletes. And the word coach is used a lot, right? People are health coaches. They're a strength coach. They're a mental health coach, life coach. They're coaching a lot of things. And I find that oftentimes, most of the time, they're just promoting a lifestyle as opposed to maybe truly coaching. I don't know if you agree with that, but that kind of brings me to my question. Since I consider you a leading expert in this, when you hear the word coaching, what does it actually mean to you?
Yeah. And not only a great question, but here's a great topic here too. Another part of my history too. Hey guys, my mom was a physical education teacher and a coach, right? That's the house I grew up in. And I grew up in that house in the 70s and 80s, guys. My mom was super tough, right? She was really tough. But I got raised, you take your vitamins, you get 8 hours of sleep, you work super hard, you outwork everybody else. Hey, if you're sick, eat a clove of garlic. This is what I got raised on. But then what happened was I can remember, hey, I had good coaches and then I had bad coaches, right?
Sure.
And that really both inspired me. But what John is bringing up, and I challenge everybody listening right now, what I do is when I take a word, because that's what John just did. He's, man, and Erin too. It's like life coach, business coach, a health coach, this coach. And I had to define for myself, what does the word coach mean? And here's something really important that I always say. If I don't know what the word means, then how can I do it? So I had to define this for myself. I actually then went on to write a few books on it. And look at the words on there. It is called Coach to Coach. But within that, the definition that I came up with, and I'm going to give it really short here, as a coach is someone who takes someone somewhere, right? That's the first part. Because see, a coach is going to take you somewhere, right? And the original word coach comes, if you've heard stagecoach, or when you get on a bus, they call it coach. That a coach transports you somewhere. But then I had to make the definition more specific. It's somewhere you want to go, right? Hey, if I have a coach and I want to do better or I want to win, they should be getting me closer to that, not further, right? Mm-hmm. And then the final part that I gave for the definition is that person can't get there themselves, right? And that became very clear to me. So then I became, anytime I was working with someone as what I was calling myself a coach, which I like to say is the most honorable title you can be called, because for everybody listening, I know you've had a coach, and I bet you remember things that coach said to you. I bet you even still do some of the things the coach said. I had a hockey coach, an ice hockey coach, tell me when I was at a summer camp when I was 12 that you should eat lots of peanut butter because it's good for you. Guys, I still eat a jar a week, which I don't know if that was the best advice. Maybe I just did see a study, though, out of Australia that people that eat more peanut butter maintain more leg strength. And because there's more leg strength, more mobility, less falls, and better cognition. So maybe the guy was right. But what I'm getting at is that advice, because he was a coach, I gave such credibility to that because of that title, like what that title wields. So I'm challenging everybody. If you're calling yourself a coach, then every time you're with somebody, you should be seeking, how do I give something I have that gets that person a little closer to where they want to go that they couldn't do it without me. And if you become that person, that guide, man, it's not only one of the best jobs, but the world needs more coaches. And very important, which brings us back to the university. Guys, just because I played a sport doesn't mean I can coach it. Just because, or if that I was good at something, or hey, I have a big biceps, that doesn't mean I can coach it. There is so much that goes into the foundation of coaching that I rely on every day as a coach. Now that I see, it's the original learnings, it's the degrees, it's the background, it's the experience, it's the mentors, it's just every piece of it seeking to be better. Behavior modification, understanding habit development. These are areas that unfortunately a lot of people call themselves coaches, but they don't always follow those out. And so hopefully that was the longest winded answer for that, John, but
I think it was great, Martin. I think that leads into another question that I have for you is you're talking about coaching, but there's a difference between being technically proficient as a coach and then actually being a great coach. So talk a little bit about the elements, because you highlighted on some of those, like the habit formation, and really it comes down to developing relationships, because part of your definition is taking someone somewhere that they couldn't get there on their own. But I think tacking on to that, making a lasting impression.
Oh, there's so many things. And guys, it's been a deep dive of my last 20 years, right? So I have presented on coaching in 40 countries around the world. I had a course that now is a course at Lionel University called Coaching Greatness. So everybody can take this course. And I'm the one that teaches it here at the university. But within that, and there are so many areas to it, what I like to say, and I think you brought it up, Erin, is a simple way to break it down is I call it the 5 E's, right? And there's so many other areas. The first one we just talked about is expertise, right? Oh, I have an expertise in the sport, or I have an expertise in nutrition, or I have some degrees, or I have a background. That's only one I would say that's like 20% of the stuff maybe that you
Sure.
need. Hey, another biggie. And guys, I'll say this too. Other background myself, I like to say this one a lot. I'm a black belt in judo. I trained at the world famous New York Athletic Club around Olympic coaches to achieve that. And that's why I say that I don't take it lightly. It took me a decade of killing myself to achieve that. I'm as proud of that as I am of my university degrees. But why I say that is to get my black belt, it wasn't that I never made any mistakes. It was that I made them all, right? Like I had to make all of them to then learn how to not make them anymore. That's how you achieve it. And I think it's the same thing as a coach, right? So I just want everybody to know, because Erin's, oh, you're a great coach, or people say you're a great coach. Hey, guys, I was a lousy coach for a long time before I ever got to be any good. And there were so many areas that I was missing. And the mistakes I would make or the results I didn't get, like you heard me say, hey, I've trained UFC champs. I have worked with Olympic medalists. Yeah, but hey, I've also had people get injuries. I've also trained people and they didn't get the performances they want. And I had to learn from all of those. And you have to own up for both. I don't think we see a lot of that on social. We only see the good stuff. Oh, look at these great results. Yeah. Maybe for every great one, there was 100 that didn't get it, but did you learn from it? Yeah. But along the way, the next biggie, because I said the E's, right? And we'll get into some of them. Hey, another big E was empathy, right? That's still one I am trying to get better at. Like I told you, my mom raised me pretty tough. Sometimes I'm like, just go do it. Or, hey, let's just get after it. Or I don't want to hear it. But hey, guys, coaching in particular, I have 4 daughters, right? So coaching female athletes, in particular, your daughters, is one of the toughest things on earth, right? And there's an empathy that has to go along with that. You have to understand where they are and how they want to hear things and what would be the best style or approach to do that. And these are areas that I still continue to challenge myself. Last night, we had our first track meet of the season, and I'm always just so cautious. Am I saying the right thing at the right time? Did I get that one right? Did I either get them too fired up or not fired up enough? And so I think it's that constant questioning of how to be better that does make me better. But it's also, like we said, those foundational components. And yeah, there's so much more to it than just, I got a couple of certs and now I'm ready to rock. Hopefully we'll jump to another question because I know we're
and for you listeners, a great takeaway there was he was mentioning how he's made all the mistakes. And if you're a brand new trainer, of course you're not a great trainer yet. If you just started, it's okay if you're not as great as some of your favorite trainers out there. It's going to take time. And although making mistakes is not fun, they can be very useful to you in showing you how to not approach the job or how to not approach coaching. So I think that's a huge takeaway because, again, social media is such a highlight reel and we see the best of the best from us. But behind all that, there were probably a lot of mistakes. So you did a great job of kind of defining coaching for us. Another term that's thrown out there a lot is leadership. And again, this is something that you've spoken on a lot, probably written about it quite a bit. And I was hoping in the context of the fitness professional, those who are studying exercise science, what does leadership mean for us, the health and fitness professionals and the personal trainers?
And that's an interesting one, right? Like a very difficult word to define. Guys, on my shelves, my library, I'll challenge everybody right now. What are you reading right now? How many books are in your library? And then how many in a topic? So my coaching section, huge. Leadership, holy cow. If you type in leadership books in Amazon and see how many pop up, it can be overwhelming, right? But if you haven't read any, you're not any closer to learning about it. I think in particular, say, because we are talking about the personal trainer, right? Hey, we're not talking about leadership of running a global organization with thousands of employees. And if I were to say anything, leadership, which is going to be very important in our field, is that you are able to get the person you're working with to do what they're supposed to be doing when they're supposed to be doing it, and they actually like it or think it's their idea, right? If you could pull that off, you are leading from the front, and that's what people are looking for, right? And let's face it, if I was going to cut to the chase, and I always try to keep it real, the fitness industry exists In particular, and when we say fitness, guys, now I'm talking about, because I have also, hey, I don't just work with athletes. And my company, Training for Warriors, is predominantly women. Hey, people that have either been overweight or having health challenges that want to get themselves in shape. So always remember, these are the people that we are working with. And they do need leadership because they either don't know what to eat, or they can't control what to eat, or they have the wrong habits developed and they need somebody to lead them to doing it correctly. And again, what I will caution everybody, there are skills. This takes not only expertise in science, but also you could say in areas of psychology. And these are all the things that we teach here at our university that will give you a huge advantage. But if you don't have those, it's very difficult to fully develop your skills and lead somebody where they want to go, right? So you could almost say you can intertwine the words. A coach is a leader is going to be a coach way. And hey, a parent, you fit those all in there too. But hopefully that was an answer for that. But that one's a tough one, right? I guess I would throw it back on anybody listening. Hey, what do you think it means? And and write us in about it and see what you think.
I think, Martin, one thing, I loved all of that, but I think sometimes there's this assumption or presumption that you're a leader by title, but you're really a leader by behavior. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about some of the behaviors versus titles, because someone can be a great leader and not have a predefined leadership title, or the opposite is true. They can have a leadership title and be a terrible leader.
And one that you just sparked with me right there, Erin, and it's absolutely correct. I think a mistake that I had often seen in the fitness industry was the longer someone's there, they just get moved up to higher positions, even though they're not qualified to do those positions, right? So,
yes.
And it's almost, wow, they've been here at this so long, we got to pay them more, but now that's management and they're not a manager or a leader, right? But here's what I would definitely say, because you sparked this. Hey guys, and this is a thing of mine. If you want to be a leader in the fitness industry, you do have to lead by example, right? And that's very important. So again, I know sometimes maybe people don't want to hear this, or this is going to hit them. But guys, if you are going to teach nutrition, you should teach what you do, right? And that you do it, and then show them how you do it. If you are getting someone more fit, you should be pushing yourself always to be more fit. I'm not saying you got to deadlift 500 pounds and set world records and things, but you are the product of the product, right? Like you should be selling what you do. Here would be a great example. Hey, I'll ask you two a question. Do you want would you like your financial advisor to be broke?
Absolutely not.
Would you want your dentist to have wooden teeth?
It's a bad sign.
Yeah. So guys, the fitness pro that doesn't eat well and tells everybody else to do it, or doesn't actually even do the workouts that they prescribe for everybody else, hard to lead. It's hard to be a leader then, because there's already a disconnect, right? So one thing I will say is, when you lead, man, a lot of it is by example out, right? That's very important, because you're trying to, I always call it, you're showing them how you do it. Hey, if I want to, I don't know, I talked before about getting my black belt. I wanted to go learn from the best black belts. That's how I did that, right? That's how I met the Gracie family. I said, I'm interested in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I want to go learn from the best in the world. Oh, they're right here. That's where I'm going to go. Not, I'm going to learn from the guy that was doing it a week more than I was.
Right.
So one challenge for everybody, and maybe it's a wake-up call, is, man, if you're passionate about this and this is what you do, it's going to shine through with how you do it, and it is going to help you. But then, like I said, when we talked about the other areas, like to then be a leader, say in a division or a facility, there are so many other skills that go along with that too. But for the people that are listening here, hey, if you go through our Lion certifications, it's not just to be an information gatherer. I'm challenging you. You got to be an action taker. Then you got to do this stuff. So here's an interesting topic, right? Guys, I monitor my sleep. I wear an Aura ring. There's a lot of different you could use, but that changed how I did everything. It started to really coach me. I realized I was eating a little too late. That was affecting my sleep. And then maybe I didn't have my routine the right way. And then I got blackout shades. And now, guys, I feel very qualified to not only talk about sleep, but coach somebody in sleep because I can show a year's worth of data where I'm getting world-class sleep now. But maybe before that, I wasn't as good as I could have been. And again, it's that example stuff because it's easy to say, hey, get to bed on time or you need more sleep. And then that's the same person that's scrolling at 2 a.m. and then waking up at 5 for their 6 a.m. session. Like hard to listen to. Just my take on it. But if we are going to make our profession more powerful, we do want our fitness pros to live it as much as they talk about it. Right.
Yeah.
That's right. And you're an overachiever if you're getting world-class sleep, Martin. That's I've never heard it described that way before. That's really good.
Oh, and hey, that right. Like I love that line, right? I want to have world-class workouts. I want to eat world-class. I want to get world-class sleep. And but watch, and here's one that we can eventually talk about maybe on another podcast too, is the big thing I'm learning is, because guys, I just built my own sauna too. So we got to talk about that eventually. There's so much, guys. I hope if everybody and anybody that listens to this, and if you like it and you want to hear more, we can just keep deep diving into so many areas. Cause I love exercise science. I love it. It's what I do. It's what I study. It's how I spend my whole day. But watch this other line that keeps coming up to me all the time. You can't manage what you don't measure. You can't manage what you don't measure. I measure my sleep. Now I can manage it. Right? I measure my weight every day. Then I manage it. Right? Now that may sound crazy, but then no, what I think sounds crazy is you never watch and then some big problem happens because you were never watching. Right? So it's just how you look at it. Right? But me and what I want Lionel to drive through to everybody, guys, is we're going to take a world-class approach on all of this. Right? Go through our certs. John, you'll tell them like they're world-class compared to what's out there. They're going to get great information and taught in a way that maybe they haven't gotten it before. We're trying to be great at what we do, and it stems from all of us.
I can't agree more. And one of the things that's given me insight into helping to, with this team, create world-class education is I've been around for a long time. I've been doing this since the 1900s. So it's been a long run. And I've seen the evolution of the industry. And gone are the days of just being a weightlifting coach and counting reps and just spotting people, right? The notion of coaching and leadership wasn't really even there for me early on as a personal trainer. Now, exercise science was. I'm an exercise science person. I studied exercise science. I've taught exercise science at the university level. So let's see if we can land the plane on this and bring this all together, because I truly believe that a solid background, and not just solid, world-class background in exercise science is a great gateway to high levels of success and a great career in the industry, especially if you pair it with other skills like leadership and coaching. I'm just setting the table for us to have a conversation now about how we bring all those things together, the world of exercise science and creating leaders and coaches that can help to deliver this information to the masses so that we can have healthier, happier people that are living long, healthy lives and just have a lot of vitality in their life. And it's not just about abs and muscles. Those are cool, by the way, abs and muscles, all that. I love all that stuff. But there's a lot of folks out there that need some help. And I think they're going to get it from people who are exercise scientists, who are great leaders and coaches.
Not only, hey, for everybody listening, you can agree 100%. And a couple ideas that jump out at me to wrap it all up. Number one, a coach that I had used to say, don't put on your tie before you put on your shirt, right? And what we mean by that is, hey, I think a lot of people jump into this industry, they get thrown in there, don't have a lot of background, and then are going on the internet or getting their information there and just doing crazy exercises or something else that people are not prepared for. So the example would be, guys, don't ask me about creatine if you eat McDonald's every day. And don't ask me about a Bulgarian split squat variation off a ball with kettlebells hanging from your neck and you haven't even started training yet. So that being said, that foundation of a coach is exercise science, right? Like you have to have a background in it. You've got to understand motor development, biomechanics, nutrition, anatomy. These are all areas you got to be really well versed in. I pull from them all the time. Now, then even when you have that, and then you can say, like John said, oh, I now can write a great program, or I can write a great diet. Hey, our industry is changing. With the advent of AI, that's not going to be your most important thing anymore, right? Like when I was coming up, it was like, ooh, I had these secret exercises, or oh, I could write this program nobody else could write. Nah, that won't separate you, which brings you to what John then talked about and what we really hit on. You got to have this foundation and you got to have your background, but it's like a door opening in your house that you never saw before. But then wait a minute. Then I have to be a great coach. There's as much of that as there is exercise science. Then I have to be a great leader. Then I have to be a great manager. Listen carefully. Then I have to be a great communicator. Then I have to understand behavior modification and habits and motivational interviewing. And you start to see that, and it shouldn't be daunting. It's exciting that there's so many other areas that you can then be great to use all that stuff you have. But if you only have the other stuff we were talking about, everybody has that now, right? And that won't be the separator. And then you won't make as much impact helping somebody get where they want to go. So maybe that could be a great summary there. And hey, and I know this is a fire hose of information, but it is where the future of our industry is going. And yet, man, but what will never change is you got to know the principles, right? So listen to this. Maybe this would be a great finish. The methods are many, but the principles are few. Methods are going to change all the time, but principles never do, right? And I think people really need to know the principles of exercise science. And I think that's the step many are skipping. And you have to have that. And the future is only going to demand that you really understand that even better. And yeah, that would be maybe my close on that one there.
Yeah, so truly a fire hose of information. And I know we can do this all day. Like I said earlier, we refer to these as training sessions. And I feel like I've had a good training session today. And we're moving on to the cool down, which I need now because I'm actually a little tired after hearing all that. I need to bring it down a notch a little bit. Erin, I was hoping, and I have a feeling you have a few, but main takeaways from this conversation with Martin.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, pursue your passion and don't be afraid to do that. Have the courage to step away from something you're really good at that you just don't really love to pursue something that you're maybe not great at yet, but that you know is where your passion lies. And I think, secondly, we have this notion of coaching and leadership. And while technical proficiency and knowledge is absolutely foundational, it is not what will make you successful. You have to have the ability to behave in a way that is congruent with the principles that you subscribe to and the core values that you openly talk about. And I think you also, again, you touched on something really important to me, which is empathy. As the empath in the room, there's not enough empathy out there. So I feel like that's something that often gets pigeonholed as a weakness when in fact it's what makes your relationship stronger.
Boom.
And something, I guess I'll go with two things. This one kind of hit me. You said, don't get good at something you don't love. And that hit because that means you've probably spent time, energy, and money on something that doesn't even feel particularly relevant to you. And what a slap in the face that can feel like to put so much effort into something that's not necessarily giving you the payoff that you wanted or that you deserve. The other one too was leading by example. And I've managed I don't know how many trainers over the years, right? And you get to hear trainers, they love fitness. They're very enthusiastic about fitness, but then they're coaching people. I'm putting up quotation marks. They're coaching people to be better at managing their time or being more disciplined about things, when I know damn well that they're not necessarily doing those things for themselves. So if you're going to lead by example, it's not by doing the thing that you think is so fun and working out all the time. Because the real results that you're going to get from a lot of your clients is helping to coach them to do the things that they didn't want to do in the first place. So that's, to me, a big part of the way that trainers can lead by example. So Martin, I wanted to maybe clear the room a little bit and give you space for any final thoughts that you might have, because this is a lot and you've given us a lot of great things. But leadership and coaching, I think these are traits that people can develop. And I think that you're someone who's helped a lot of people to develop those traits. So any last thoughts from you before we close things down?
Yeah, I think just hopefully for anybody listening, if this really inspired you and you're still here listening to this right now, it means you really are interested in this. And I would challenge you, how far do you want to take it, right? Science, the professionals are needed. There are so many exciting careers in this field that I don't think people have investigated enough. And if you chase that, I'm promising it'll be a life worth living. And maybe the final part too, never forget a coach is there to serve, right? Like like John was bringing up, hey guys, your workout's important so that you can lead by example, but how you serve somebody else is more important if you want to be a great coach. And I think the big jump or leap people have to someday make. I had to make it, right? There was a time, look, when I was talking about I was a judo guy or I was a bobsledder, it was about me because I was trying to get better. I wasn't a coach yet. It really wasn't. Even though sometimes I was in a coaching role, I really wasn't a coach yet because I was still more worried about me than them. And when you make that leap, that you really are more concerned about their results than your own, like that's when you're really great, right? And it takes time to get there. So that might be a great way to end it.
Another great training session down. Thanks to my co-host, Dr. Erin Nitschke. Thank you to our guest, Chancellor Martin Rooney. Thanks to Lionel University for letting us do this. And again, another great training session down. Can't wait to be with you guys for the next training session here on The Training Room.